Mike,
Are we live?
we are live.
Are we live?
Sorry,
Good
everyone.
morning, good evening.
We are 5 minutes late. Sorry, everyone. Our interview was a little bit longer than expected.
It was a good one, actually.
Yeah.
If you guys have been paying attention to the previews that we've been writing, we've got Paul Tosh Tanner today, from PADI, who is our special guest in studio, and we had a very entertaining and very insightful conversation with him that we will show momentarily. So stay tuned.
So what else are we going to talk about today, Mike?
We're also going to talk about one of the places that is one of my favorite all-time destinations, from both living there, diving there for a couple of years back, almost 20 years ago now, 2002 to 2004 in French Polynesia, specifically the Tuamotu.
Tuamotu.
The Tuamotu.
Tuamotus. Lots of sharks.
Tuamotu. Lots of sharks.
I haven't seen the pictures you put
through
yet.
Loads and loads of sharks. I'm just going to take one brief second here to share our live stream on Facebook. If you are watching and on Facebook, if you don't mind, go ahead and click share on that button there. Let it out to your friends and family who may be entertained by it. You never know. Please help out and do that. I'm going to take 1 sec and do that. So why don't you pull up the Google map there.
Yes. Oh, I can entertain you.
Yes. Entertain them, Luca. Entertain them.
Yes. So today, as you will see, so we had Paul Tosh Tanner coming on the show, and actually was, as you said, there was a very nice conversation, and we got to talk a little bit also about us and what we are doing now.
Yep.
And we gave a little bit of suggestions, maybe how you can tackle this crisis now in the travel industry. And so I think that there will be quite a few insights that can be very, very useful to many of you. Now, I'm going to check for French Polynesia on Google Earth.
And you don't know where it is.
No, I think I know. Let's see. Okay, let's see.
It's the test.
Let's pop that open. But before we do that, hang on a second. I would like to take a moment to say, guys, yesterday on the Facebook page, one of the posts that we put was it was the birthday of our beloved Parman, our instructor working at the Underwater Tribe, and it was so nice to see many of you chipping in and wishing him well.
Happy 40th birthday, Parman.
Happy 40th.
Actually, he's not 40.
No, he's 1 year younger than me, so he's
so he's almost 40.
38. Yeah, it's close there. There were some very nice pictures that some of our guests coming diving with him posted about him, and it was very nice to see the love from all of you that
he does say thank you to everyone. If he hasn't replied yet in the comments, he will.
And then another thing, you posted a blog post yesterday.
Yeah, I posted a blog about how you can take 5 short tips to help improve your photography while you're stuck at home at the moment.
Okay, cool. And that's you can find it on our website, and we also publish the link on our Facebook page over there. All right, let's jump into Google Earth and let's see how I find my way towards French Polynesia. So I think it's somewhere up here.
Oh, you're way off. Go. Keep going.
No, not that far.
Keep going. You need to click the north up there.
Yeah.
The N. There you go. Click that in. There you go.
All right. Yeah.
Zoom in a little bit.
Come on, that was not that far. French Polynesia, guys.
Yes, south of the equator, the consummate South Pacific island chain.
All right, and where are you going to take us?
I'm going to take you to, right there where you're at. Papeete is the capital. So if you ever fly in there, which obviously most people would do, they would fly in there. The place you fly into, Papeete, typical sort of a big town, very commercialized, not really much of interest in Papeete itself. But once you get out, you can see Moorea is right beside it. Very famous spot in the world is Moorea. Also, you have Bora Bora, which is very close to there. Those are...
Where is Bora Bora? Yeah. Or still in this Mori Island or
No, one of the others off to the left there.
left here?
They're very famous. They're very prototypical big island volcano with a barrier reef going around it. You can see there if you go in to Moorea. Bora Bora is one further off to the left there. But you see a big fringing reef around a very large volcano. So when you see those pictures of South Pacific Islands, very beautiful backdrops, lush green vegetation, beautiful blue water. But when I used to live there, I did not spend much time in those places at all. Instead, I was actually based in Tuamotu.
Where are they?
Which, if you zoom right back out again, you're going to see there's a few different island chains. So this is what they call the Society Islands. What you see there, it says Society Ridge. Those are the volcanoes. Those are the places, your Bora Boras, your Moreas, your Papietes, where you've got a lot of shark dives, but more of the feeding dives, the ones, you hear about the snorkeling. The diving itself there is what you would call a little bit boring, really.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not the world's most exciting
There is
diving.
not such a thing as a boring dive.
In the societies. But if you zoom out a little further,
yeah,
you get the whole of French Polynesia in. Off to the north, or actually, if you go a little bit to the left, you'll see...
To the left, east or
to
west?
To the west, to the southwest, there's Rurutu. You see where Rarotonga is, but not that far. There's a place called Rurutu, which is, around that area. Further off to the east. But anyways, this is still part of French Polynesia. That is where they have the humpbacks.
Oh.
You can find it there somewhere.
Moses Reef.
Anywhere in there. But it's a humpback season, so there is a very good humpback whale season in that area as well. Zoom back out again. And now come to the northeast. Right
northeast, here.
Up there, you've also got the Marquesas, which is sort of a wild and rocky environment. Big shark action up there, dolphins, melonhead whales, mantas. But it's sort of that's kind of the outer edge of French Polynesia. It is the wild coast, as you should say. Big seas at times, but really incredible diving, but not the lush coral reefs. It's more of a rocky environment.
Yeah.
Whereas if you zoom back out again, and sort of between there and Papiete, you'll see there's a whole string of yellow in there.
Here?
That is the Tuamotu.
Oh, all this.
All that.
But tell me something. Why do you know all about this?
Because I was living there for 2 years.
2 years. And in 2 years you managed to know all this.
I'm a bookworm. So you see it's a whole series of atolls. Similar to the Maldives, very large atolls, very low lying. There's no more hills. There's no green lush vegetation in this area. I think I've got a couple of photos that show a little bit of what on land looks like. Not many,
All right.
but I got one or two in there.
Let's check what you brought to the show.
Do. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Here
so if you
go.
scroll on the left, scroll down till you see some of the land shots.
Like that?
Like that. So you've got nice white sandy beaches, lots of tropical pine trees, coconut trees, palm trees, things like that. There should be another picture there. That's the one. What it is
What's
is
this, all corals?
These are exactly. It's all coral. This is the main island of Rangiroa up there.
What language is this?
This would be French.
Is it French?
Yes.
But it
And
looks
Japanese.
Isanat.
And French
Bu
and
Ike
Japanese.
Pareo Art Isanat.
Boutique.
Oh, boutique.
Do I have to teach you French?
The funny thing is that I can speak French, but I couldn't really see that.
Small coral rings, basically. They're atolls. So there's no hills. They're very flat islands. Big, huge lagoons. Rare.
When is a good time to go?
I think the best time to go would be between December and March. For some reason, a lot of the super yachts go there in like June, July,
All right.
which is silly because that's where you've got the most wind, so it's quite choppy and not really a great time to be there for anchoring or anything like that. But in December through till March, you've got the cleanest, calmest water and a lot of action, especially here, which is Rangaroa. This is the time of year when the eagle rays start to mate.
Oh,
And
mate.
on full moon, new moon, keep going, that very last picture on the bottom, in the full moon, in the bottom of the pass in Rangaroa, when you can see an eagle ray behind that guy.
Oh, here.
Yeah, little eagle ray back there. The eagle rays will cluster in the hundreds, and these big giant hammerheads come in and hunt the eagle rays, which
That's
is
a great
amazing.
hammerhead, yeah?
That's great
That was
hammerhead.
quite close. What lens did you use?
That
for
is
this
an
shot?
18 to 35. I had a Nikon a Nikon F90 and an 18 to 35 lens. And that guy was, he was within a couple of meters of me. Big boy. That was probably, it's probably the biggest shark I've actually had underwater.
All right. Cool. And then let's see what other sharks you can see there. This
That
is quite
there,
a common view that
that's the one you can see.
picture.
You can see behind us on the wall. There you go.
And they cannot see
oh,
it.
no.
Is there
Different
on
one,
the side.
but same dive site. I don't really want to mention it in case we've got any fishermen watching.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But,
and that's actually, you raise a very important point, guys. So many of you are diving like in shark rich waters, beautiful dives and something like this. It's quite important always like to do not be too precise about where that dive was, because there are people that are fishermen and business people, also on Facebook and so on, that they might listen to where the areas are.
I was actually looking at a very interesting post yesterday about commercial fishing boats in French Polynesia.
And here you can see this shark here, that another one. This is a silver tip, right?
Those are two silver tips. That's back to Rangaroa. You see the big fish hook in its mouth
got a
there.
hook.
But these guys are probably 3 meters.
3 meters.
Yeah, big sharks.
This is one of my favorite photos of shark photos ever.
This is the same dive site. It's not Apataki. It's one of the Avatoru Pass in Rangaroa, and it was a famous dive site for these big, and I'm talking big, fat silver tips.
Very round.
And I was really lucky one day with this school. It's right at the edge of the pass, on the outside of the pass. You do that when the tide is going out, rather than when it's going in, and you stay on the outside. And these silver tips and this big school of jacks hang around. And what the jacks are doing, they're dive bombing. I don't know if any of you have ever witnessed this. Jacks, mostly jacks, but sometimes rainbow runners, they will use sharks as a cleaning pad. They come in and brush themselves against the backwards. So they'll go forward on the shark, and that brushes parasites off the skin of the fish. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Keep going.
Yep.
What else we can see?
Let's have another one here.
Like this one?
Like this.
That's
so,
a different shark.
Again, so this is a gray reef. This is in another one of the passes down there. And what I really like about this one is the contrast. So you've got what I used to call wrasse holes. So you've got a pass that runs in and out of the atoll. But then running perpendicular to the actual pass itself would be these funnels, these tunnels, these hollows that at certain times of year would just get filled with different kinds of fish, humpback snappers, blue line snappers, things like that. Where these guys, these big guys, they were there all the time. And so you would go out, you would jump into the mouth of the pass, you would hook in at the mouth of the pass, watching, like, go to that photo right there that you've got, that you had, there you go. So you'd be watching these sharks cruise back and forth at the mouth of the pass. Once your bottom time would start going down, you pull tail and off you go down the pass, and you would drop into that hole where all those big eyes were. So that's actually... Out here, when you're at the edge of the pass, you're looking at probably 20 to 30 meters, whereas that one with the big eyes, you're probably in about 10 to 15 meters.
Wow. Hundreds.
So you just drift through. You get in behind those
Look how
the
many.
big eyes. You try and hide behind the big eyes and wait for the fish to come, or wait for the sharks to come to you.
So definitely quite an exciting dive. And
Oh, amazing.
how do the sharks react to your presence over there?
They pretty much ignore you. They go and do their own thing. They circle around. They've got a pattern that they do where they just go around and around and around, and that's, they ignore you unless, of course, the French. Our French, at this time, this was 15 years ago, our French dive guide, he used to love to bring a little bit of food with him.
All right, like
And
that.
like that, right there. And you'll see there's no gloves. You look at his BCD, he's got a fish head tucked inside there.
The old days.
Yeah, the good old days. When
Nice.
we would do this kind of stuff, then the sharks would go nuts.
Okay.
We would keep the guests a little bit further away, obviously. And then the sharks would come in and go nuts when he would bring out that piece of fish. Obviously, you weren't doing that when there was tiger sharks around, but there would be literally 100 gray reef sharks, and he's swimming around with 2 tuna heads inside his BCD.
Yeah. And
Quite fun.
that exactly. So that's quite also a very interesting point. Like we have this perception, like especially if you're not a diver, thinking about the sharks are mean machines, like ready to attack you the entire time. This dude goes down there with his wetsuit filled with tuna heads and everything so that he can pop them out to the sharks, and the sharks still like clinically goes there eating just the piece of fish and don't care about you guys.
No,
at all.
didn't care about us at all.
And that's the reality of most of wildlife.
Yeah.
That don't have you in the food chain, because sharks, they don't have humans inside their food chain.
If you click up on the one that you see the dolphin there.
Yeah. Give me a second. Here we go.
There you go.
Look at that.
Really interesting story with that dolphin back in the day. We were in Fakarava, which is the southernmost place that we would go to. And one day we ran in and we were diving on one of the dives. And all of a sudden this dolphin comes straight at us. And we're like, whoa, big dolphin, big bottlenose. We're like, what is this dolphin doing? And as it got closer, it was coming up to everybody in the dive party. It would come up, and it was coming right up to you like this. And then all of a sudden, you can figure out, it's like, whoa, this dolphin is bleeding, and it had a big gash down by its tail. And I'm talking a big gash, and it was bleeding everywhere. You could see sharks circling. We're like, oh, this is not good. There's something wrong here. So we were trying to push the dolphin up for air, thinking that it was really badly hurt. But it turns out it wasn't hurt at all. Well, it was obviously hurt. I think what had been happening is there was a few speedboats going back and forth chasing fish for fishing, and I think he got clipped by his tail by the propeller. But he recovered. The next week, he was back again. The following week, we were in the next island north, and all of a sudden he came to us again. A couple of months later, we were in another island a little bit further north. Here comes the same dolphin, because you don't have dolphins that will come to you normally when you're scuba diving. And every couple of weeks or every month or so, we kept running into the same dolphin, because you could tell by the scar healing. And it kept coming up to us every time we would see it. Eventually, it made it to Rangaroa, where there was a resident pod of dolphins. And this pod of dolphins has always been there. They were all bottlenose. And all of a sudden, one day we were diving there, and here's that dolphin again. So he had worked his way all the way from Fakarava up to Rangaroa, and was eventually...
How far is that?
About 200 miles. And it was eventually accepted as part of the pod, the local pod in Rangaroa. We don't know if he had started with that pod.
Yeah, maybe. It was a little adventure.
The idea was that he had been part of a captive dolphin center in somewhere, I think it was either Moorea or Bora Bora, where they had 2 dolphins escape, and that's why he had a thing for humans. But eventually he got back and was adopted into another wild pod. And again, we don't know if it was one that had escaped from a captivity, but that was our idea at the time. But what was very cool was to see that he got accepted into that other
Yeah,
family
they
of
adopt.
dolphins.
So it looks like they adopt.
Yeah.
Hi, Minnie. Good to see you. Thanks for the hearts. And here is who is the person?
That was the chef,
Oh,
Dom.
the chef.
He lives here in Bali. He lives over there in Canggu. If you are in the mood for some nice French Polynesian food, he's over there we could even write his restaurant down there in the comments. But he came on with us on a dive one afternoon. We used to do a blue water dive. We would drop off probably about 500 meters offshore and look for the big boys. We would get silkies. We would get these silver tips come in. And just a much different look than when you're on the reef itself.
Look this fin here, like pointing straight down. So sharks, they do that when they want to. So they change from gliding fins position to point down.
When they're moving quick.
When they want to move quick and have quick turns and so on. So what made it so exciting?
Not really
The
sure.
chef? They said, oh, chef.
Yeah, maybe the chef. He smells the food.
All right. So... And French Polynesia, we have this idea of, like you showed before, like white sand beaches. Like how do you get there? Generally, like if you're coming from the States, what's the quickest
There
route?
was a direct flight, LA to Papeete. There's a direct flight from Papeete to Auckland. I used to go when I would get time off. I would go either to Auckland or LA. I think there's a flight to Japan, but I'm not exactly sure. It might only be at certain times. Obviously, flights have changed since back when I used to live there, but it's about an 8-hour flight to LA, and maybe a 5 or 6 hour flight to Auckland. But definitely worth going. One of my of all the places I've worked in or places I've visited, and I'm talking places like Cocos, Palau, Galapagos. The one place that I would love to go back to and take the photos all again is French Polynesia, for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna put it on the list. We have to go to Thailand to meet Ben, which, by the way, Ben, thanks again for Wednesday show. If you haven't watched the Wednesday show where we had the Ben Raymans, we have it still on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. You can refer to that. It was a very, very nice show. And now, talking about guests.
Yes.
We had a new guest for you, brought you by PADI.
Yes.
No, brought you by us. Brought you by us because he's our PADI territory manager here. And basically we had the chance, he's one of our top fan followers. His name is Paul Tosh Tanner. And he's the territory manager, as I was saying. And we are in touch, of course, with him often during the normal days of operation. We also are a PADI Dive Center. And we had a great conversation, which we're going to launch in a second here. What do we discuss, Mike?
We discussed a whole bunch of things. So
Yeah.
I think instead of recapping it here, why don't we head straight into the interview itself? It's a long one, but it's very entertaining and insightful.
Yeah, we
Not
talked
only
a little
do you
bit
hear
about ourselves.
exactly, so you'll hear a little bit of his history, you hear a little bit of our history, how we got into the diving. So we're not just talking business, we're talking a little bit of chit chat as well. So very entertaining, and we've got the live chat open. So if you've got questions, throw those in there, and we will answer them as the conversation goes through.
All right, and that's our interview.
Hello, Mr. Paul Tosh Tanner.
Hi guys, how are we doing?
Good. So what do you think? Should we call you Tosh, or should we call you Paul? What do you prefer?
Well, I have two names, Paul and Tosh. Kind of for a couple of reasons. One, there's a deniability. If I get into trouble, it wasn't me, it was that other guy, Tosh, or it's that other guy, Paul. And generally people that like me call me Tosh. People that don't like me, have to deal with me, call me Paul. So my mum and my wife, they like to call me Paul. Most other people
They call you Paul.
Call me Tosh.
Okay, cool. And what are you hearing recently, more Paul or more Tosh?
Well, the way things are at the moment, it's definitely a 50-50 at the moment.
50-50. We're going to call you Tosh on the show.
Paul at the moment.
So Tosh, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm in my in my bedroom at home at the moment because I'm conducting everything online, and my office is kind of an open office where we've got the kids running around. Mm-hmm. So you may have a BBC News moment. One of my kids might run through this door.
Oh yeah, please put them on the show. We like kids.
You got any cats in the room with you that may suddenly jump on the desk?
The dog's downstairs. You might hear him barking if anyone comes to the door. So yeah.
So you're in your bedroom, but you managed to rise up the colors there on the background. I can see.
So as I said, we've been doing a lot of conferences and stuff, and it's all been online. So I've kind of set up office in my bedroom, and I've put this flag up. Which, you know, my wife is ecstatic.
I'm sure.
Falling asleep underneath the PADI logo and waking up and being the first thing she sees.
That's really good. Yeah. What's funny, though, is that the fact that you live literally, 5 minutes from where we are right now? But it's all about social distancing.
Haven't been able to get to see you. Have you been exercising and walking?
Yeah, there's actually a good place just behind my house with rice fields. Not so many people around. Makes it easy. I was over close by your house the other day.
You keep it Bali style.
Going through that,
rice fields,
you know where I'm talking about, between our houses.
I take my dog there every day, up and down.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit of a transition moment into this, let's say, crisis. You know, it's a sort of okay, we have lots of things to do and to prepare, and then in the same time, we also need to do some exercise and things and keep social, still finding our routines, I guess.
I think I'm actually doing more exercise now than I've ever done because I'm forcing myself to do it. When normally I think I'm out and about doing it, but this time I'm actually making sure that I do some running and some exercise each day.
And how are your children? Happy to have you all the time around?
I work mainly from home anyway. I spend about 200 days travelling a year, and then the rest of the time I work from home, so I see them quite a lot when I'm not travelling. But yeah, they do. I mean, it's tricky. We've been having, like I said, a lot of meetings, and this is the only air-conditioned room in the house, so they just walk in because they're hot.
To cool down.
I'm talking to somebody. They walk in their underwear because they're hot and stuff.
You know, something funny happened to me, like in my household. There was, it was maybe like a week ago or something like that. And my wife Miho, she came over and she said, "Okay, we should implement few rules." I said, "Few rules about what?" "Well, now you're not going out anymore that often on boats and things like that. So we're gonna stay together pretty much the whole time." Let's create this sort of rules.
This is her part of the house. This is your part of the house.
And I was there. You should be so happy. I'm home, honey.
I've got a friend that up until the law said he lives in another country. Up until the law said he still had to go to work. He was managing a dive centre, but then because of local law, they've actually stopped operating at all. And his wife won't let him back in the house until he's quarantined for 2 weeks in a hotel room because he doesn't want him coming near the kids.
Nice.
So, it's affected everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely. We are
crazy.
all affected by this.
Because with your job with PADI, you're the territory director of Asia Pacific. What countries is under your umbrella? Which ones do you look after?
So PADI itself is kind of split up into three main offices. So we've got Americas, which looks after kind of North America, then South America, and kind of the islands around that as well. And then you have EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa, which is Europe and obviously Middle East and Africa, clues in the name. And then we've got Asia Pacific, which is based in Sydney. So those are the three main offices. We've got a couple of extra ones, China and Japan, because they're pretty special markets with their culture and how they advertise and market, etc. They've got their own offices as well. And then in Asia Pacific, we split ourselves into three territories. And the only reason why these are split is kind of like the number of members, dive centres and members we have in each one. So we've got aptly named Asia 1 and Asia 2, because we couldn't think of any other way to name it. And then we've got Oceanic, which split up by Asia 1 is Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And obviously the Philippines and Thailand are huge for certifications. And then Asia 2, which is what I look after, it's kind of like the smiley face at the bottom of Asia. So we've got everything from Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka. Then we come over, and then we've got Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, where we are here, and then Timor-Leste as well.
Okay.
And then Oceanic is what I like to call the retirement home. They've got, they've got all of Australia, and then you've got New Zealand, and they've got the beautiful South Pacific Islands where, everybody would dream of retiring one day. So it's my kind of retirement home.
Bali is not enough of a retirement place. You got to go to Fiji.
Have you seen how busy it is here?
Not at the moment. Driving here, it took me like 2 minutes.
Yeah, maybe if we go up north, I might be retired.
So how long have you been with PADI now?
Been with PADI 7 years, or coming up to 7 years.
Okay.
So I started in 2013, kind of halfway through the year. I started off as their regional manager for Indonesia, and then a couple of years ago, about 2.5 years ago now, 2 years, a few months ago, I became the territory director. PADI around there.
And you pretty much, your entire career has been in the diving industry, yeah?
Yeah, I started diving in '99. I'm a total cliche, where I was travelling around Thailand for 3 months, and I saved up my last bit of money, and I kept it to one side, and I didn't spend it on partying or travelling or anything like that. I saved this money because I was doing a once in a lifetime, tick my bucket list, learn how to get my PADI and do the PADI course and stuff. And I did that in I think it might have been probably around this sort of time. Do you know what? I might actually, I'm going to have a quick look, but I think today might be my actual anniversary.
Really?
You
can remember this kind of thing?
I looked at it the other day, because we just brought out a new app, and all the e-cards are on there now and stuff like that. Look,
did you do that?
I have not.
Tell us about that e-card quickly, that we haven't done it yet. So do we need to do something about it? Or it comes automatically?
Starting from the 15th of this month, and I can't imagine too many people are doing many certifications at the moment, but basically all certifications will be defaulted with an e-card. So you'll get instant certification from the 15th of this month for anybody that's talking Asia and EMEA. So quite simply, as soon as you certify them, within 10 minutes they'll get an email that says download the app. They download the app, they use their single sign-in, which they use for their digital materials, and then they'll get all of their e-cards on it.
Do you still get a plastic one, or that's completely gone now after this?
No,
or you have to opt in?
Purchase a plastic one. You can purchase a plastic one, but you don't get it given as default. So it's kind of
that's good. Save lots of plastic.
You should purchase the digital one. Obviously, that's now stripped. But I'm wrong, actually. It was the 30th of April. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah?
Not the 10th. So I've got another 20 days or something to go until
So
I
is
get
your anniversary. And what about the people that were already certified? What do they need to do to get
the
this?
certified, they stay with the plastic card they've been given. So it's anybody from the 15th onwards.
Okay.
If you're a Dive Pro, if you're a PADI Pro, you get all your digital cards free anyway.
All right.
So
Cool.
that's all there as well.
I will
And it's a new app. It's a new app that's just come out. There's some really cool features on it, to be fair. The last app had some challenges, as best described as with that. But so far, the feedback on this one, and it's only been out kind of 10 days or so. So far, it's doing pretty good in the reviews and stuff. It's got like a 9.4. A 4.9 on Apple and Android at the moment, so it's going pretty well.
It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
So you went to Thailand, you were saying, and you started.
Yeah, then I went home and went back to my normal job. I was working up in London, and I was living in Essex. I don't know if you know where that is, if anybody knows that kind of area.
We can anticipate some jokes here at the moment for the Essex.
No Essex jokes.
On the live chat.
So I was travelling back and forth, and I did that for about, 2 or 3 months, and realised that the dive instructor that taught me how to dive and the dive master that taught me diving in Thailand seemed to be having a better kind of life than I did for some reason. You know,
Funnily enough,
sitting on the train, looking around at people, thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? And I went back to Thailand in 1999. I got there probably about June or July, and that was it. I haven't left kind of diving since. Became a dive master, started working as a dive master, then became an instructor, started working as a dive instructor for quite a few years in Thailand on an island called Koh Tao. You've probably heard of it.
Yep.
It's kind of a big epicenter for diving. I did that for years. And then I moved out of teaching and went into dive centre management and moved over to the Caribbean and spent 5 years over there. Worked in a dive resort in the Cayman Islands for about 3 years, a resort in Belize for a year, and then a resort in St. Lucia for a year. I then gave up diving. Got to about 2007 and was like, I'm done with diving, and that was it. I wanted to go back to Asia. I'd been over to the Caribbean, it was awesome, but I just loved Asia in particular, and at the time it was Thailand. So I went back and opened up a wedding planning company in Koh Tao.
That's a big step.
Yeah, fairy tale wedding. It went really well. Started managing some bars and restaurants and stuff on Koh Tao as well. I opened up a couple of other businesses, a little guest house, a burger stall. I kind of had a diver's app as well to help people get employed and stuff. And then, ironically enough, one day a large SSI dive centre in Koh Tao.
Are you allowed to say that now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
I'm not religious on any of it. I work for PADI. I believe they do the best for the dive industry. But I've got no problem with any other training agency. They've got the same goals, is to get as many people in the water as possible and train them well, and hopefully they become advocates of the ocean. It's almost like I've said that before. I went and worked for the SSI dive centre there as their instructor trainer, and I did that for about 3-4 years. And then I met a couple of PADI managers in Koh Tao, and we were chatting, and there was a job as regional manager in Indonesia for PADI, and they asked if I would apply for it, and I did. And about a month later, I moved to Bali, picked up the family, and came over to Bali, and been working for PADI since 2013. So not the most natural route into PADI, but I'm pretty glad my choice isn't the way that I got there. So it was pretty cool.
Rest is history.
And that's the thing, you know, you saw your instructor and your dive master in Koh Tao, and you said like, you know what, I want to have that life.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And you had similar stories to that.
Remember being an instructor in Koh Tao and looking at PADI and thinking, you know, they should have people from Koh Tao working for them.
Yeah.
And now there's loads. There's loads of people from Koh Tao now working for PADI in all different areas. So it's pretty cool.
I remember back in the days when I did my first open water diver certification, and that was in '92. I was a kid, really a kid, and my instructor was saying, yeah, you know, when I was in the Maldives, I was diving with this whale shark, and I was, you know, already thinking about I'm going to space now, you know, kind of thing, because I'm a kid, getting all the dive gear and so on like that. And he tells me, a whale shark? And I was like, okay, the seed was planted. So I finished my high school, and then I packed my bag, I went to Australia, I went to Perth, and I did the 0 to hero, and I became a PADI instructor back then.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So how old was you when you first did your first dive?
I was 11.
Yeah, 11.
Yes, that was a while ago. I think I was supposed to be 12. I did that in Italy. You know, sometimes they break the rules over there.
I think you can be 10, but you got
now you're 10.
Depth restriction.
Yeah. Maybe not then.
No, back then.
Not then?
No, back then.
2092, before my time.
Yeah. I wanted to make like a joke with Miho the other day. I said like, let's go to try to find my first certification card. You should see my picture in there. It's really funny. I look so young. I look so much not me either.
I don't think I still have my first cert card anywhere. I would have no idea. Mine was same. Mine was Copenhagen, '96. So I'm sure I looked like a backpacker hippie, you know, lots of suntan and long hair. I still had hair then. Actually, it's quite long now, but less grey.
You can't get out to get it cut, huh?
No, I cut my own, but I'm just lazy.
How did you both end up in Bali?
For me, I was actually working in Micronesia at the time. I was working in Yap, and I'd come to.
How did you work in Yap?
What's that?
How did you get
How
there?
did you work?
Oh, you want me to start at the beginning? Mine was very similar to yours. I was traveling through Thailand, doing the whole backpacker thing, and then did my open water in Koh Phangan, did a few dives around, went back home, and then said, same like you, no more of this working in the real world Monday to Friday, 2 days off, Monday to Friday, 2 days off. So started doing my dive master through instructor back at home in Vancouver. And then as soon as I finished my instructor, I started putting out resumes everywhere and got the job on a boat in Palau, the Palau Aggressor.
The aggressive fleet. Did you train in the Caymans or did you go?
No, never went to Caymans. Started straight in Palau in '99. I did 3 years in Palau. Then did 2 years in Tahiti, which we'll talk about later here. And then we did, what did I do? I did from Tahiti back home for a little bit, decided no more boats, and then ended up in Yap at Manta Bay doing the photo video thing.
But that's actually is a very good question that you asked there, Paul. How did we end up, like in these places? Like,
because it's warm.
Well, but not only that, also because it was easy, and it still is easy. Okay, now because of this problem, it's not. But back in the day, so when I first became like a PADI instructor, I was over there and I get access to the PADI members website, right? And there you have all those job posting from around the world. And it become like a candy store, and you say, oh, right, Cayman is looking for a place. Like over here, Sharm el Sheikh is looking for a place, for somebody to get there. And so that's what I did, I was in Australia, and then I said, okay, Maldives, I want to go there. You start, to go on the internet and you browse and all these images of Maldives and so on. So it became very cool. And so every year I was changing place, because I wanted to travel the world, and my job gave me that opportunity, to the point that somebody, I think after I changed already 2-3 times, after 1 year, somebody started to say like, all right, seems like that if I'm going to hire you, you're going to just stick around for a year and then bugger off. And I said, yeah, actually, maybe he's right. I need to stay a little bit longer next time.
Do you know, it's amazing. We do this thing called a GoPro where we deliver stories about becoming a dive professional and how it changes your life and what you do. But looking at both of you, when you talk about your journey from open water all the way through, it's the same for me. Even when I was doing it then, I have such excitement, such joy over it. It is such a special time in your life when you're going through it. The dive industry has gave us that. I don't know about you, but growing up, maybe you a little bit different, Luca, because you started diving at 10. But for me, it was this alien thing that, if I was lucky, I would get to do it once in my life. If I was lucky, that was something that other people ever, did. It was nothing that was touchable for me. And getting to do it for a living is just priceless. It's just amazing.
Exactly. And then it was accessible like that, and that actually thanks to PADI that create that member forum place, place on the website, which really you could just pick where you wanted to go and send in resumes, and it didn't always work, like there were certain prestigious areas, like one where you've been in Manta Ray, in Yap.
Palau and Yap?
Yeah, Palau and Yap.
Well, very few dive centers, so very difficult to get
quite hard to get there, and you feel it like, that's amazing. Like Wakatobi was another one that every time you used to open like a magazine like that, you could see Wakatobi in there, like, I want to go there to Wakatobi. But not an easy job. No. It looks like the dream job and everything, but it's a hard working job.
Long hours.
It's not a holiday. Yeah, long hours. You work hard. But
My first job was $5. It's carrying tanks up and down a beach all day. For 12
exactly,
hours.
you carry tanks, but you stay fit, you work
Yes.
outdoor, you meet great people, whether they are your guests or your co-workers and things, and you have the option to go anywhere in the world with it.
Literally. So how did you guys settle with Bali?
I did. This is like I was saying earlier. I was in Yap, and another photographer. I was working Yap as a photo video pro there at the resort, and then one of the big photographer in this area, a guy named Tim Rock. He and I decided that we would do some photo seminars, and he had been coming to Bali diving for years. Scuba Soraya up in the Tulum area. At that time, this is 2006. So we booked the place out and just started marketing that we were going to do a seminar there. We sold it out. And then at that time, there was a direct flight from Guam to Bali, so I could go Yap, Guam, Bali. And we did, I think, a seven-night seminar there, but I spent 2 weeks here. And in that 2 weeks, you know, time I had and time afterwards, I'm like, when I got back to Yap, I don't know, none of you have been to Yap. It's a very, very small little island with nothing going on. When I got back, I was like, you know what? I think I've had enough with Yap, and I think I'm going to move to Bali.
Yeah.
So convinced another friend of mine, who we should have on the show in the next couple of weeks, and the two of us moved to Bali from there.
Amazing.
Any regrets?
Not really. I mean, I moved to Bali, then I've moved around to Indonesia a bunch, and then came back to Bali, because the key thing with Bali is it's got everything. You know, people ask, oh, why Bali? You could go, well, you could go, we should go, golfing, you can go mountain biking, you can go surfing, you can eat at a 5-star restaurant, you can eat at a $2 restaurant, you know. It's
Get
got
a bit of a
everything.
social, more social life.
Yeah, I mean, compared to living on a small island where you got nothing.
And then Bali's got the charm. It's you know, like Thailand has got a great social life too, and this. But I think like the combination to be, let's say, first based in Indonesia, and be, let's say, have access to all this fantastic place for diving like Raja Ampat, Komodo, Bali itself is very nice, Sulawesi, and so on. So having that opportunity, and have also the social life, and plus you have the charm of Balinese cultures and the temple, so the whole combo.
And we had
It's really good. Oh, it's beautiful. How did you guys end up opening up Underwater Tribe?
Okay, that's quite.
oh, because we had both, before Bali, we had both been working in
Sulawesi. Yeah.
and met each other there. I had left North Sulawesi and gone to work on liveaboards, the my fleet, and then I'll let you say what you ended up doing.
Exactly. I was managing a dive center for 6 years. So I did actually 2 dive centers in Manado, 3 years and 3 years. And then that's where I met Mike. And then after a while, I was coming over to Bali for holiday, you know, every once in a while, and have a 5 days break and then come back. And like you said, you know, when you were coming back, you always felt like, okay, it's a little bit, it's getting tighter and tighter, I'd like to go back to Bali. And so then I came in 2011 to the decision together with my wife and said, okay, we did 6 years here, let's go to Bali, without much of a plan. And then I think it came sort of by chance, and naturally Mike was here, he was having a break from, I think, the liveaboard where he was working on, and he's been there for a while. And I was looking to do something different, and we started to talk one evening and say, like, maybe we should start to run trips together on liveaboards, and then we got along with that idea, and we booked our first charter together. And since then we created the company, the Underwater Tribe, and now we have a small dive operation here in Bali. We have an instructor and a dive master with us. Which, by the way, little bit of shout out, even if we already did it before, like Parman was his birthday yesterday, our PADI instructor, and then happy birthday, Parman, like that. And then so since then we created this with the aim of photography. So we both photographers and we both videographers, and so our ideas were there. So we we probably are a little bit different as a PADI center, let's say, than the normal PADI, but that's what the diving industry is. It's not only about, let's say, training, you know? And I think we both were brought up in a different way career-wise, you know, like we worked in places maybe where fun diving was more, let's say, the main income of the dive center, so we would be guiding a lot, becoming cruise leaders on boats and things like this, rather than be in a training facility where we do lots of certifications. Sure. So that's another fascinating things, I think, of the diving industry, you know.
Yeah. What does because like obviously the people on your social media watching this will know what you do, but I'm going to share it on my personal account as well and stuff. So what does Underwater Tribe do? What kind of products do you offer? What do you go ahead and do as a business?
Well, we aim ourselves, shall we say, to people that are interested in a private trip with a little bit more customer service. So people that, you know, when they come to a place like Bali or whatnot, they don't want to necessarily be on a group or on a boat or in a group with 10 or 6 or 8 other people. They want their own personal dive master. They are looking for that experience with people who have the experience. So
yeah, experienced divers.
Experienced divers. Our clientele are the kind of people that, you know, they're not going to do 40 minutes just swimming along the reef. They want our dive guides who are expert critter finders, and they'll spend 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes on a dive looking for the tiniest little critters, because a lot of our people, like I said, Luca was saying, they're photographers, they're videographers, or they're seriously into their fish. So that's kind of our main clientele, would be the people like that. But again, we also have small families. We have families, small groups,
training.
But
we started more and more having.
Yeah, we're doing a lot more training now as well. But our core clientele would be more already experienced divers who are looking for personal service
here in Bali. And then we run liveaboard trips. So we would charter a boat and try to fill it up with, let's say, the clients that we already had here, so that they like to travel with us. And every year there is some other new people chipping in. And we do also run a photography workshop. So we partner with other dive resort and dive center, and we organize an event together with them, and we try to fill up such event like a photography workshop. Yep. We've been doing that now in Lembe with Ned Lembe for how long?
8.
We ran 8, so 8 years.
8 years straight with that.
So when we started the Underwater Tribe, we had this in mind, like, let's make a little bit of a strategy, and having, let's say, an annual trip on a liveaboard, a photography workshop over there, and then we fill the gap with one-to-one photography tuition here in Bali, and then start to have fun divers coming over here to Bali that look for that private or more dedicated service to them. And
like, as you say, we do a lot of underwater photography training. So
yeah, that's how we're known for.
You guys have been around for a little while, and you've been doing all your stuff, and you've had the Underwater Tribe, but you've only recently, in the last few years, if I think correctly, been a PADI dive centre.
Yep.
Why did you join up with PADI? Because everything you're saying at the moment, and my understanding of it, is very much based on that one-to-one experience, and very much based on that photography and going out and specialising on, can you please go and find me this nudie brain? Can you go to that dive centre? You find it, they shoot it, and then you're very much specialised in that. Why did you? I know we met playing golf.
You're not supposed to put that online if you go play golf. We were having a meeting.
We became a PADI dive center because you're a very good salesman.
No, it's a lot of it is actually because we were getting a lot more people wanting to combine
that was
things.
A joke.
They were coming in and saying, "Oh, when we come and do this, can we also do our nitrox, or can we do our?" I'm going on a liveaboard after I'm coming with you guys, and I'm only in open water. could you guys train us as an
Yes.
advanced at the same time?
And also we hired an instructor, so it made sense. Now we had an instructor in our
Yeah.
dive center, and
It's his birthday, yeah?
his birthday yesterday, exactly. Yes, and so he was sort of freshly certified as an instructor, but he worked in the diving industry for more than 15 years
Yeah.
already, so a very experienced person, and so having him, it made that quite natural. And then because Mike and I are already busy doing lots of things, and also like teaching on top of it, would have been like quite time consuming to run the entire business. We needed to have somebody able to do that for us. But also, it's not only because of that, it's also we join because we become part of a network, right? So actually, I see already a return of the investment by being a PADI dive center, just to be, let's say, listed as a PADI dive center even on the PADI website, you know, so we start to get
More marketing opportunities.
more marketing opportunities, and since we did that, actually we started to have more requests of certification, because people, they go online and they say PADI dive center, Indonesia, Bali, like that, and then we can actually end up in the search results or on the drop down list of the section.
And it's actually been pretty good for support-wise as well, because, you know, quite often we will have people asking questions and things like that, and I can bug you, we can bug Robin, things like that, our local PADI people when we have questions. I might get a rude reply from you, but the rest of them are usually quite friendly and knowledgeable.
You can only talk to me about golf.
Yes.
That's cool. You guys obviously asked if I'd come on and talk, but I really wanted to talk to you guys as well, because I've been following a lot of what you did prior to the COVID-19 outbreak and stuff like that. But I've also paid a little bit more attention to you because I really like what you've been doing on all of your platforms and putting on shows like this. So I've got some questions, if you don't mind, that I'd like to kind of run past you and give you, see if you want to share any of that information, and we can try and like help any other dive centres that are kind of at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, the way that I found it speaking to dive centres, everybody's at their different stage of dealing with what's going on. My wife came up with a really good example. It's like having a child having a crisis, having a meltdown. You know, people react very vocally to start off with. Everything's bad, everything's going to go bad, you can't reason with it. And people have got to go through all of these stages of their business.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are trying to work out how to feed their staff and putting on soup kitchens. Some people are closing up and moving to different countries. Other dive centres are closing down for good. And, you know, people are going through these stages, and at one point we are going to see a light at this. We're all in this together. We're all going through it. I mean, everybody's revenue stream has stopped, you know, for everyone from PADI to Scuba Pro to Aqualung to Underwater Tribe to pro diving cans. Everybody's revenue has just suddenly stopped, and everyone's got to process this separately, but there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. The dive industry's been for this. Indonesia, no worse than any other dive place. You've had volcanoes, you've had tsunamis, we've had earthquakes. You know,
So let's say that we've been, let's say, as the travel industry, we are in the travel industry.
Yeah,
it's been already disrupted. How do you say it? Disrupted already, like by many events. 9/11 was one of those. Then we had the Bali bombing. Create a big problem around here in Southeast Asia back in the days. When I was in Sharm el-Sheikh, we even had a bombing in Sharm el-Sheikh, and they went all quiet. Tsunamis. Volcano was actually an easy one, like the recent one over there. But probably this right now is the biggest emergency ever that the world together has been facing. So that's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's stopped everything.
Yeah.
Whereas nothing else has really stopped all international travel like this has.
And I don't know. I cannot talk. I cannot talk for the entire world. Of course, you know, like I think we enter different phases, and we still haven't entered all our phases yet. So the first phase is this happened, and it sounds like a story that maybe is not going to affect you like that, and you don't take much action about it. And then, okay, then comes the second phase, which is the fear factor. Okay, it's happening. Everybody is sort of going back. We have this chaos, and we don't know what is going to happen. So uncertainty is like probably we are still. I think we are still towards. I think we are towards the end of this phase right now. Like we've been already living that of the uncertainty thing, and so during this moment, how do you react to it? I think that's a big component. I personally have been like through thinking, okay, first of all, how much is gonna cost me? You know, like business-wise, I have all let's say this stuff and working for the end of the tribe and so on, and our personal expensive to live in a place. And you start to get very stressed when you start to think about that. Then, I don't know, we sort of are positive people, so try to think positive, and so you start to not think about that, and you start to think about, okay, you know what, right now I'm in the low season, okay, so I wouldn't have made much income anyway, you know. And then, okay, so we are healthy. That's very important. We need to keep healthy at the moment. And then you start to think, once you start to calm down a little bit, you start to think about what can I do right now to survive? You know, like in during this situation, while the whole world is still going crazy and things, and the entire economy shut down. So that's crazy, you know, like. Now people are in fear and say you cannot favor economy over health and so on, and then you have to draw a line. Where should we draw the line? And sooner or later we will have to do that, you know, like, and that is probably when things will start to change. But then I think, okay, what can I do now? What can we do now as a company? And I think the most important thing is, especially like in moments like now, is to regroup, put together your ideas, have a strategy, and do something. The worst thing you can do is actually place yourself home and watch Netflix, you know, the entire time. Which Netflix is doing well in this economy crisis. It's already doing well. But we as a dive center, what can we do? And how can we keep active? And one of them is we've always been growing our social media channels, and we put some efforts into it, but we also were busy doing trips and around, and so we decided to intensify and go tenfold higher onto our social media channels. And you know, you can recognize how important it is to grow social media wise, and now it's our chance to invest into that. We got the time, let's invest into that. And we are actually having also some fun, we find out, by running this sort of...
I enjoy watching both of you each day anyway.
Yeah.
You're doing your live feeds and stuff.
That's
so you've always been pretty good at your social media. You do your photography, you do your video, which, you know, diving is such a visual sport anyway. So, you know, for those people selling cat food, you know, it's a little bit trickier. But us guys that are selling diving, it's a lot easier to be able to be so visually, perfect or engaging and stuff. What's changed between now and what you was doing 6 months ago? And you know, I've looked at your website. Not PADI. I use a marketing graded tool called WooRank. WOO rank, and then you / and put your web, and it comes up some really good points on how to improve your website. I put you guys through it, I don't know, about 6 months ago, probably one time after golf, talking to Mike about something along those lines. And you guys have always done well with your marketing graders, with your website, and with all your photography stuff. What's changed now since all this has begun, and why are you doing these live feeds, why are you doing these podcasts, etc.?
Well, our stats went up for sure since we started to do this, and our growth increased.
And I think it's also, as he was mentioning earlier, we've got more time now. Not necessarily we've got more time for marketing. We already had marketing time set aside for the things that we would do, but now we are making more of an effort, like this live stream that we're doing 3 or 4 times a week, and pushing it out there, because one of the key things we think now is people at home are looking for content, and we are trying to keep ourselves in the public eye. The more you can keep yourself in the eye, the more you'll build a relationship with people online, and so by building that brand and pushing it out there, I think you build more of a loyal following, and people will be more interested in what you're doing.
Yes, and then of course, like we have to keep real, and we also think about we need to start to make some revenue, because we don't know how long we can stay in this situation and how long the world will stay in this situation. And then so the only way that now we have is to reach people is actually by coming to their houses with internet, right? And so what can we do as a dive center? So if I was a dive center doing lots of certifications, for instance, and lots of PADI courses and so on, what I would do right now, I would offer the chance, let's say, to my customers and clientele, which I marketed for in the past, to actually reach me. And so I have a team of instructors over there, and I would say, okay, everyone on a laptop, and during our operating hours, okay, I give the chance to any potential customer to reach me out and have a one-to-one session for 30 minutes or 45 minutes with one of my instructors. Tell me why maybe you are afraid of diving. Tell me what wants to make you diving. Like any doubt as a person and viewer that you might have about diving, now you get the chance, let's say, for 30-40 minutes to talk to me about that. And then in the same time, what I can do is like I can send let's say once the person wants to do a dive course, I send the e-learning, so we have everything already digitally and created online. I would send that over, and you can start to do the theory part, okay? And then I already create a contact with a future customer. So when the days will be better and the light, we will be finally back in the light, like that, I will already have, hopefully, a lineup of potential customer coming over to me to get trained. As I said before, that's not our main market, so we do it on our other way. So we are photography instructors and so on, so we create lots of that material about that, and we give now the chance to book us to talk about underwater photography for 45 minutes, and we help you to go to the next level with your theory wise. So any doubts that you might have about photography, why you do this rather than that, like that, now you have the chance to connect with us for a small fee, and we give you, let's say, some time, and that fee will help us also to keep going during this time and pay salaries and so on. So that's a way.
Yeah, it's massive at the moment because everybody's cash flow is just diminished and gone. So any way that you can get that engagement, and maybe you can get someone to book for later in the year, or whether they can sign up to do an online course, or we can have that one-to-one discussion, even reaching out to all your clients that you've had before, thinking about doing their advance or their rescue, running through some of the courses that they can do and what's involved in them and how they can start online as well.
Absolutely, and some actually that is a quite important point. If you've been in the business already for a long time, you had already like a huge following. It was not there maybe online, let's say, if you haven't invested your time previously into growing your following on social media, but you create a following by having people coming to you. So now is the time that I would create that environment online with all the customers that were already with me in here, and bring them into a pool, and let's talk about the old days about diving and so on, and it's just gonna benefit the operation,
Yeah, need to try and keep diving on the forefront of everybody's mind when they're self-isolating or they're in quarantine, etc. If we keep diving on the forefront of the mind, unfortunately I don't get to dive a lot, but I'm desperate. I'm desperate to go diving.
Absolutely, same here, and I got to dive a lot. Like you said before, it's a hard work, and I'll be honest, I kind of give it for granted. I've been working as a dive professional now for 20 years, and so you can understand that in the last years I was kind of believing like it's kind of normal, going out and diving. So as soon as you took that away by this COVID-19, I want to go diving now.
I think it's going to get real busy real quick, hopefully. With your media platforms, can I ask you a few questions? I don't want you to give away all your trade secrets to every company out there, etc. But from what I can see, you use Facebook, Instagram, YouTube are your main media outlets that you use. Yeah,
correct.
Which one do you find best, and why do you use each one for what purpose? So if I start with YouTube, you use YouTube. You're going live at the moment. What other reasons do you use it for?
YouTube is something we've been trying to grow for a long time, and the channel YouTube itself we're using more tutorial-wise and entertainment-wise, like showing short videos and things like that. It's more what we would call an entertainment platform and an educational platform for YouTube. Putting things because when you do a search, say I'm working on something on the computer and I can't figure out how to fix something, I've got something broken, I go onto YouTube and search for a tutorial on how to fix it. So with underwater photography, we want to sort of put that in there, so when someone says, "Oh, how do I do this in underwater photography?"
like showing short videos and things like that.
YouTube is very much what we would call educational wise for that, so a good platform that way. And it also offers, eventually, once you get, and it's a huge growth for that, you can monetize YouTube eventually.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the main reasons why we're actually also investing lots of time in YouTube, because it will give you the chance to actually have a bit of income coming in once you reach a certain level of subscription. So definitely, and I think that's one of the main. I think our main channel right now is Facebook.
For sure.
And it's been because we have a bigger following, but also the environment that Facebook offers you is a little bit more tight.
Social.
Yeah, social, exactly. So on YouTube, people will go there very superficially, would write a message, a comment like that, leave a comment, and it goes. Instagram is the same. It's very superficial as an app. You see the beauty of the world, you put some pictures in there, people commenting like that, everything gets erased and gone. But Facebook is where people gathers and you can create this connection and conversation going on with anybody. So you can create a group, and then in that group you can share certain things, okay? And then you have your page, and also it kind of works. Second is the age, how you call it, the people that are on Facebook right now, okay? They say that are older people, let's say people that are on TikTok, for instance, like this new app, like that are mostly, let's say, teens, like this, and young kids. Exactly. So TikTok is a very superficial app. On Facebook, you have people that are, let's say, my age, probably like in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So somebody that is in the 50s and already was a bit hard to say, I get into Facebook, they did that, they're not maybe ready to go into the other platforms. And they really enjoy that. There was a moment when everything was fine that I thought, Facebook is becoming a little bit boring like that, and we put a little bit less effort into that. But now I rediscovered that actually is actually where the community is with the Underwater Tribe, where I'm able to connect with the people is right there on Facebook. So definitely don't undervalue Facebook as a platform. I think it's coming back stronger right now, especially during this time. We understand how important it is as an app to stay connected.
I've always kind of described it with your website gives the information of your business. Your Instagram shows the beauty of what you do, and so does YouTube. But your Facebook gives the character
Yep.
of your
100%.
business, gives what you're all about. You really get a feel when you go onto somebody's Facebook page, whether it's fun and exciting there, whether it's professional there, whether it's dull or boring, or whether there's a lot of engagement going on there. It really gives a personality to the business that you're doing, where normally you can only do that when somebody walks into your shop, or you can only do that by how your shop's laid out or how it's advertised on the street, etc. So I really find that pretty good with Facebook.
Absolutely, but you need to do them all.
What? Yeah, oh, yeah.
You cannot just go one, and then once you become familiar, let's say, with these main three ones, you understand how you actually can interact between them, and how to move maybe like your followers around the app a little bit, but it takes a little bit of time.
How many fans do you have on each platform off the top of your head? Do you know?
Facebook, we got 30,000. YouTube, about 1,000, and I think Instagram we're around 10,000.
Have you seen a steady growth? Has anything changed over this time since what you've been doing with all these live feeds and videos, etc.?
Yeah, our Facebook and YouTube are on the rise, as well as Instagram. Even though Facebook and YouTube, we're sort of bringing them up more intensively. And on Instagram, we put our Dive Master on it right now. And actually, you need to be active on every platform if you want to grow it. So we cannot. It's a full-time job, 100%. So that's why now we dedicated all this time of ours into this, because we can do it. It's a full-time job. And so my Dive Master stays on the app, and he knows pretty much everything about the underwater world, and he knows even the Latin names of nudie branch like that. He's a great guy, and he has.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he's got the book with him, and I would say that, okay, here is the strategy. Go around, find people with pictures and photos and comment, start this conversation going on, and he's doing great. Since he's been doing that, actually our Instagram, that was sort of stalled for a while, started to grow again. So you need to be active on the platforms for sure.
Yeah, it's don't put nothing. You get out of it what you put into it. It's the same with everything in life. So, okay, you get more followers. You get more followers. You get more likes. You get more fans. You get more hearts, etc. You get more views. How's that helping? What's that? You're investing a lot of time. How's that helping you with your cash flow? How's that helping with your business? What's going on with it? What's the point?
Couple of things, because once people get to know you, as you say, Facebook is our personality. Once people get to know your personality, once they see that you actually know what you're talking about, they will then say, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about. I am interested in taking a photo class. Maybe these guys are offering to do it online, so hey, let's contact these guys and spend 45 minutes or an hour chatting to them online and getting into underwater photography. So I think right now people are at that point. The first week was a little bit of shock once everything shut down, but now people are at a point, hey, let's use that time wisely. Let's invest in learning something new, whether it be photography, whether it be learning a language, whether it be cooking, whatever. People are now looking for things to not to entertain themselves, but they're looking for education at this point in time, learning something. So by creating that personality and that brand on the social media, now that people will come to us and say, hey, you guys know what you're talking about for underwater photography, let's talk together. Let's talk.
And that would be, let's say, in the near immediate future, but
and then down the road, yeah.
One thing we always we enter this world as an underwater tribe and with a marketing idea of actually making this system our marketing, so the social media. So dive industry in the past has always been about going to dive shows, advertise in magazines and so on, and quite expensive to actually market yourself. You need to travel to places, you need to pay quite expensive money to have a booth, you need to pay some money to have, let's say, an advert or half page on a magazine or on an important website and so on. So we recognize from the get-go that this is important to do, and will be our strategy. We just go, like, say, full-time social marketing wise, and we saw in these years that it takes time to actually start to make a revenue out of it. But then all of a sudden we started to rank very well for underwater photography in Indonesia, and we start to see the booking coming from there. So it depends how your strategy goes right now. You might do not see an immediate return right now, but you're basically building something that will bring something back in the future, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, what you spoke about before with print advertising and trade shows, they all have their place and they're good for what they do.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to track the return on investment. So you need to know what you put in and how you're getting that back out. With trade shows and print advertising, without giving a code away, a discount away, without giving something away, it can be very tricky to be able to track that return on investment that you put into the social media. It's a lot easier to track. For one, you can track simply by likes, fans, comments, engagement, and see whether that's going up. And the investment is time, not money. And
absolutely.
One thing we have now is time.
It's time.
You know,
Yes.
We've got that there, and we can invest that time into the platforms to be able to do that.
Yeah, but I'd like to add something to this, Tosh. I call you Tosh because I like you. The conversation is going the right way. All right. Now I want to add something to this. Is that let's say social media. I know I lost my. I wanted to say that. Okay, yes. So maybe before you ask us how many followers you have now and so on, how it works. So let's say that in the social media world we still don't have those big numbers. And if I would be right now listening to this conversation, and I'm a new guy that wants to get into, let's say, maybe this idea of start to grow my. Let's say I'm a new PADI instructor, and I think like I just got certified, and I say. You know, like this COVID-19 happened right now. I was planning to go around and visit all this place. I have all this passion right now, and I think I'm starting from scratch. I have 0 followers anywhere like that. Maybe listening to somebody like us that already has a following, say, oh yeah, it's easy for you, you know. But actually, to grow, the most important factor is actually have passion. So you need to, as Mike was saying, like we showing more our character on Facebook right now than what we did before, because what you see is what we have a passion for. So we probably can transmit that in a nice positive way. If you want to start this social media marketing and you get into it and you think about, I want to be in it just because I want to make some money right now, and how do I do that? And you're not able to show that passion, you will actually probably not succeed, because you will feel it harder to go there, to put your face in front of the camera and start, let's say, some live stream like that. But if I was a new dive instructor right now, just out of an IE, and I got certified and my morale is down to the bottom, I would start to go around social media and dream. So where would I like to go? Maldives. Let's pull in something from Instagram. Let's share. Let's create this page on that it belongs to me, and let's create a hub sharing content that is available online that people are happy to share, and bring it to this hub. And okay, over here I put some Maldives, write something about Maldives, study something about that. Let's talk about a fish, you know, and create this community, and it will start to grow. If you have passion for it, it will grow 100%. That's what I would do. And maybe in 6 months' time, people will be looking for hiring me, because I already have like a big following behind me. You know, like, oh, this guy has a group with 2,000 people that have been engaged. And that's another important thing, engagement, that we can cover like in a moment. And definitely I want him because he will bring revenue to my diving center. So if you are out there thinking about what you can do as a new diving instructor, start to build your following right now. Engagement, that's very important. Our page had 28,000 followers. And on Facebook you can compare pages around, I see some pages with 500 followers like that. Our engagement today is exponentially way higher than pages with 1 million followers because we create the engagement with the people. So by being in front of the camera and asking questions and be there answering those questions like that and entertaining. So create more engagement. So even if we have, let's say, 28,000 followers, we are actually balancing out with a higher page. So you can have 1,000 followers, and if you have a good engagement, it can be much more value to you than have a huge number on the front of your Facebook page.
Yeah, as soon as you get engagement, the algorithms on all the social media platforms and stuff push you up, you get seen more, then everything rises like a rising tide. It'll help with every single part of it. Got a question for you, because I've spent the last 3 weeks talking into a camera, and then there's a picture of me just down there which I look at, and I didn't realise actually how large my nose is until I started turning to the side. It's quite but nobody knows how to do this. No one's ever done this before, and they're going out and they're trying this. How do you set up this live stream? Because I was talking to you about doing this platform with you, and I was like, can I not come around? I don't want to leave my house. Can we do this online like we are? He's going, yeah, we can do it like this. We can do it. I was going, well, how else do we do it? So how do you go about? What's the 101? How would you start kind of live streaming or making webinars and stuff?
Funny that you ask, because about 12 hours ago, there on YouTube, we uploaded a video on how to get started online or on live streaming.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we link that in the description of this event, and we have now basically, we show around our studio in here and everything that we do to do that.
The different software, it's pretty, you don't need a whole lot more, but there's a couple of different things that you need, especially for the audio. Just a couple of small pieces that you can order online or go shopping at. Obviously, it's hard to do now, but online shopping for a couple of pieces, a half-decent camera, and you're good to go.
Yeah, one thing though is we show what we're doing here. So as you know, like we already photographers and so on, so we had a lot of cameras around and monitors and quite strong computers to handle all that footage and so on. So we just needed to add a few pieces to be able to broadcast, let's say, on a semi-professional way. Okay, let's say something like this. However, all you need nowadays is basically the passion and a laptop, and you will be able to already grow your followers. There are some, Umberto Pellizzari, for instance, is a very important Hall of Fame freediver from Italy, and he does live stream every day from his laptop with a headset from his phone. So it's very easy to actually do that. But we put in the link a very fancy way to set it up if you want to do it in a more professional way.
Awesome. Any top tips on what subjects you should be covering or how you should engage with people?
I think you've got, and this is something that we worked on because we've done the podcasts in the past where we would bring in special guests and have a discussion. And they're usually about an hour or something like that. Doing the live stream a little bit different. So what Luca sort of brought up when we first started doing the first couple of live streams, we were just sort of more off the top of our head and going with what we were talking about. But then we decided, okay, hold it, we need to create a 1, 2, 3 and cover these 1, 2, 3s each time, just to give it some structure. So creating a structure and a goal of what you want to talk ahead of time is important. But I think, and that's the key thing right now, is everybody's at home, bringing in interesting people and talking about their, like that interesting haircut. Now talking about interesting people bringing in, because although we discuss things and we could talk about photography all day long. Bringing in a fresh point of view, bringing in a fresh face, I think, will bring people back each time.
But also, I think that's for the live view part of it. But then again, people want to hear about diving. That's let's say it's what I would like to hear about. You know, like if I'm over there, so bring in those nice dive situation experience stories, marine life, describe a subject, something like that. Ask questions. So now that also, let's say it's the three of us, is myself, Mike, and Miko into that. My wife Miko started to ask many questions there, and that's where the engagement started more, like asking questions about where did you start diving, like that. So the diving industry seems like a huge environment, but it's still like a small sort of niche, but that's the wrong way to explain it. What I want to say is like we like to have this sort of conversation, be sentimental, talking about the past, the place where we've been diving, something like that, and then dream about where we're gonna go next, and that's what you.
There's nothing better than listening to a dive professional talk about diving.
Yeah.
They get so excited, they light up. It's really good. When you can put that across to people that haven't dived, it really sparks that excitement or reignites what they learned when they did snorkel or they did dive for that first time. And hopefully that's it.
But not only professional, there are so many dive experienced divers out there that they have so many stories, you know, like to tell. And so now you create an environment where they can share their stories. Remember that it's not about us. What we do is about the community all together, you know. So tell me your story. That's is also what I want to hear, which is very important as a key to the success of the whole system. All right.
So, that's kind of everything I wanted to ask you lot. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was great
It's
to
a
have you.
very entertaining and interesting conversation, I would say.
Yeah, it's been really good, guys. You've done a really good job. Really like what you're doing, how you're getting engaged with everybody. Keep it up. And those that do it, like you guys are doing, those that spend the time, go ahead, have the resources to be able to do it, and in the situation they can do it, will come out stronger, and the dive industry will continue to grow once we get out of this, because we've got an important mission to get everybody attached to the ocean, and you guys are playing part of it. So spot on, guys. It's really good work. Really good.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Tosh. Next time, maybe we're gonna talk about Tosh. I'm still waiting for. Well, I'm not still waiting, but it's been 20 years now with PADI. I'm waiting for something like a piece of paper or like
I got mine.
like a trophy, you know, something like this.
You got yours, did you?
I got mine last year.
You got this last year.
When did you do your instructor, Luca?
2000.
2000?
Yes.
Yeah, same as me.
May 2000.
I think you guys have to wait one more year.
Yeah, we get ours in 21.
Oh, 21.
Yeah, you get it in 21.
Okay.
So at the end of 20, it gets printed out and then it comes to you. And
Can you make it quicker this time?
Man, I get asked a lot.
I'll take a picture with mine and send it to both of you.
All right. Okay, thanks Tosh for coming on the show, and it was great talking to you, and thanks also to give us an opportunity. I never thought that we were going to actually talk a little bit about that.
We'll see you on the golf course at 3 o'clock, yeah?
Yeah, I wish. I do have one thing I'd like to just advertise or let out to everybody who's following. PADI worldwide, but particularly PADI Asia Pacific, are running webinars.
Yeah, just got an email about that.
Yeah, they're running webinars on how to conduct training online, because there's been a lot of standards change, like some waivers that are being put in to be able to help conduct those online, so you can start to get a bit of a cash flow coming through your dive centre. The B2C e-learning has been discounted by 25%, and that 25% has come from PADI's revenue share. So as you know, we split it 50-50.
Yeah.
That's not coming from the dive centre's revenue, it's coming from ours. So if you are selling nitrox courses, open water, advanced, rescue, dive master, your revenue share stays the same, and you can conduct a lot of this training online to be able to get that booking for the future.
Yeah. And some cash.
We've got a webinar on how to adapt the teaching for this COVID-19 that we're in at the moment. We have webinars on best practices. We've got tips on marketing coming up. We've got a series of about 15 webinars, 2 a week, everything like that. I think the next one is actually on the 17th, and I'll ask to put a link in the comments or something along those sort of lines as well. So you can register for those full PADI Pros as well.
Are those live chats or are those pre-recorded?
Those are live webinars. You get to ask questions as you go through, and we've also got them recorded as well. And they're on the PADI Pro site, and you can just watch them when you're ready. And they've got a pretty high poll rating. We've got it on the PADI Pro Facebook page. At the moment, it's about 90% of people are finding it helpful and are going to use that information on there.
Cool.
So they've been well received as well. So try and have a look at those guys to find out more information.
Yeah, it's always been very good to get some ideas on marketing and things what we can do. Coming to PADI webinars, but member forums and so on when we were visiting places, it's always been very, very useful to get some ideas out there, you know. So
we've always wanted to do these online, but we've never had the resources to do it. But the regional managers are sitting at home, the regional training consultants are sitting at home, you know, phoning up members and stuff, and now they've got time to create these, and we're putting a series together which hopefully we'll just keep updating and be able to have them for the members all the time.
Great.
So thanks for your time, guys. Well done with your work. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tosh. See you on the next one.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
See you on the golf course.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was Paul Tosh Tanner.
Yes, very insightful conversation, I would say.
Yes, and excellent opportunity to have and actually to discuss, and you know, it's a new experience for everyone. Nobody ever experienced something like this sort of crisis, and it was good to actually have a little bit of going through what we can do and how we can tackle this.
The PADI's actually, as he was mentioning, the webinars coming up. And that's the thing that everybody's going to have to do, from major corporations to small family businesses, is coming up with new ideas, new ways of you know, education, new ways of everything, to keep
positive,
keep everything
and
going.
Active. Yes.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is make a strategy and start doing something. That's very, very, very important. Right. So next Monday, I have the topic.
Do you?
Yes. So now on our Monday show, we will.
It's very, very quick here. 2 days in advance. I'm impressed.
2 days in advance. So I'm gonna bring a description of my favorite dive site in Indonesia, and you're gonna do the same. That's the
only one.
Burger. Yeah, one, and we talk a little bit about it, what you can see,
One
where
site,
it is,
not one area,
one site,
not Komodo, but a specific site in Komodo.
Exactly, and how we tackle that site and how we prepare ahead of time. Let's say with a photographer mind, you know, what we think ahead of time, and then what we execute photography-wise.
Can I have a favorite site as a photo and a favorite site as a video?
Yes.
Or I'm only allowed to have one?
No, you can have two.
Nice.
Yes. One for no. I'd like the same site if you go with a photo camera, or the same site if you go with a video camera.
Okay.
So we can talk.
What happens if we choose the same one?
We're gonna change one of us.
All right.
Yes, we're gonna draw.
I'm gonna go first then.
Something like that. And thanks so much everyone for joining on live on these episodes. And if you watch that post live, also thank you for have watched that. The support was very good this
great.
on this show. Like Tosh, you brought lots of people on live, and we had a very good, actually also a bit of interaction going on the chat in the Facebook page. The YouTube chat was not too much of excitement going on over there, but on Facebook we had a little bit more action going on. So that's where I suggest you to go if you want to communicate with us. We were answering that. We're becoming better at answering those messages and spotting them. We're still looking to improve a little bit our guest audio. Apologies for that if it was not the best sound. during that. And one more thing, and the last thing, guys, if you would like to support our channel, we put a link in the description. You can buy myself or Mike a coffee, or Miho, or the three of us. Just keep clicking that link, and you can support us. Also, the other link, I still have to add the link to the tutorial where we show how we create this environment and this broadcasting studio. And also in the link you will see the PADI webinar that Tosh just announced before. So if you're a PADI professional, make sure to join those webinars, because it's always important to have some ideas that you can discuss about it, and also it helps you to create your own ideas, even to listen, let's say, maybe from us or from a PADI webinar, and so on. So, gonna have a weekend. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend. If you can tell the difference between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nowadays.
Exactly. And let us know in the description, in the comment, let us know if you have any question about this last segment today. And, oh, yes, I didn't turn on the microphone. Probably now the sound started to be bad. Again! We need somebody remotely just to do that, but we cannot bring in any more people because we're doing this social distances.
Mentioning how we're going to improve the sound on the guests, well, we have to improve our own sound first.
Exactly. Alright, thanks so much everyone for tuning in. It's been a longer one, and please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, and we're gonna see you on the next one.
See you Monday.
See you, everyone.